apologies, it would appear that whilst I was sat in the car, somebody said they couldn't hear me. So I was then panicking because I was saying, can anybody hear me? And nobody was commenting. So I thought, I'm just going to come inside, hold my phone, hopefully, can people say if they can hear me? Can you just say, I can hear you? Rach, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Do I have sound? Oh no. Is anybody commenting across? Anyway, shall I just start? Yay! I'll just start chatting. So basically, I thought I would just share a little bit of my experience recently. So obviously it was Mental Health Awareness Day yesterday, and that is a subject really close to my heart. I've had anxiety for, I think, about 20 years. Yeah, probably about 20 years. It started with panic attacks that led to anxiety. So dealing with that, it was literally on and off. And then about 7 years ago, the anxiety got worse. And the doctors were amazing then. They sent me through to, I did some cognitive behavioural therapy, which is basically CBT for short. So if anybody is suffering with like anxiety, what I would say is I've had a few people that know about, that have used that technique. And it does really work. It does really work well. Yay, thank you for letting me know, Claire. So it really does work well. And that for me at that point in time was what I needed, and it really worked, and it got me on the straight and narrow, and the doctors were great. And then 18 months ago, so there was a lot going on, admittedly. Louis had broken his arm, his eyes were struggling, we were about to go on holiday, it was end of term, there was a few other things that were cracking off as well. And and it just got worse. And I ended up having so it was in the July before we went away, and I ended up what I could only really describe as possibly like a little mini, I don't know if it's like a mini nervous breakdown or something, but basically it's one of those things with mental health, like literally it was something that made me just break down, and it was the fact that I needed to change Louis' bedding. So Neil went, Mel, Louis' sheets need changing, and he wasn't telling me to do it, he was just making a comment because we both do the laundry and stuff. So, but I just went downstairs and I lay on the settee, and I was kind of shaking and crying, and it was like just everything had just got on top of me. I just felt completely and utterly overwhelmed, hugely, and I just lay there, and I could kind of I knew that Neil was around there, but I couldn't literally talk to him. I was just lay on the settee in this in just I don't want to say a mess, but you know what I mean, just literally so he called my mum, and my mum came round, and we literally just sat, we went over some things, and they were like, right, we need to take some of these things off you, I'll deal with that, and everybody was pulling together to make life a little bit easier. But I rang the doctors the next day. So I rang the doctors the next day, and I explained what had happened, and they were amazing. So I rang up, it was a Monday, so I'd had it on the Sunday, I was ringing up on a Monday. So you know what doctor's surgery is like on a Monday, it is mentally crazy to get through, but I got through. I explained to the receptionist what I'd been through, and she was like, yeah, we'll get the duty doctor to give you a call. And they called me really quickly, so it was really quick call, and yeah, and they got me down to the surgery immediately, and we had a really good chat. And it was then that it was identified that probably antidepressants would be a good fit for me, because I was clearly struggling mentally. And that's something that I'd not had before. I'd been through really tough times in my life, but I'd not had before. But what I will say is I do think so I did have a lot going on, but I do think part of what triggered my depression is hormonal as well. So if you're going through like the menopause, so I'm classed as perimenopausal now, going through something like that does trigger anxiety, and you can like get into the depression side of things. So it's like, because your brain, it's basically an imbalance in your brain, and I do believe that hormones can trigger that. But they were on it, like they were so good. And I think I've known two men round about the same age as me who have taken their own lives, and it's so sad. It really is so sad to think that they would feel that was the only option available to them. It's literally heartbreaking. But there's a lot of talk about, improving things. And what I will say is, so yesterday I had a little bit. So basically, as I say, I am on antidepressants to control my mood right now. And I was noticing that in the evenings, it was still hitting me. Like the kids being like, obviously the kids coming back from school is always going to have that kind of impact on you. But, you're always going to be a bit more stressed. But I was really getting like quite, where I was just having to lie on the settee and just be in my own little space with nobody around me. And that's when I know that things aren't great. So they increased the level of the antidepressant that I was on, which, brilliant. And that's been working really well. I've been for my checkup this morning. They've chatted to me. Amazing. So we're going to continue with that. But yesterday, I'm not laughing about it, but basically it's just typical me, to be honest. So yesterday I was on the phone to Emma. We were chatting about something about work. I was thinking I need to go out on the school run. So it was my usual life. And I'd had a headache. So I thought, do you know what? I really need to, I'm going to take some paracetamol for my headache. Went to the medication tin. And because I was on the phone to Emma and my antidepressant was on the top, I took it. I took another, oh God. So didn't know that that's what I'd done until I'm in the car and I'm driving to the school run, and all of a sudden I thought, I didn't take a paracetamol. Oh no. And I was like, oh God. And I knew that my dosage was 225, and I knew the maximum for the day was I knew it was around 300 because I'd looked into it. So I was driving along and I was thinking, oh God. Anyway, did the school run, picked the boys up, got in the car, drove home, thought, oh God, my headache's getting worse, not better. Feel a little bit sickly. Sat on the setting, thought, I don't feel very good. So, and my eyes were like, it was like I was struggling to keep my eyes open. Felt a little bit sickly, head was banging. So I'd already got the headache, but it had made it a million times worse. So I thought, oh, bloody hell. So I went to the medicine thing and I looked, and because I was seeing the lady today, I knew how many tablets I'd got left, because I was like, make sure you've got enough until I see her today. So, yes, I'd taken another tablet. So I was like, oh my God, I'm over my daily limit. So I said to Neil, I'm actually a little bit concerned. I don't know what to do. I Googled it. It was like, you need to speak to someone. So I rang my doctors, explained to the receptionist. Again, amazing. Literally said, right, I'll get the duty doctor to ring you straight away. Within like 10 minutes, the duty doctor had rang me. And the really noticeable thing was, so it hadn't even kind of crossed my mind, because I just knew that I'd gone to take a paracetamol and had taken it in error. But the first thing they asked me was, there I am saying, I've just took it. And they were like, did you take it in error? Are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? Did you, how are you feeling? And I was literally blown away by how they tackled it. as I say, it hadn't even entered my mind, but that they were literally on it. They were so good. So he looked it up and he was like, oh yeah, you are over. It doesn't sound like you're too bad, but I want to double check. So he rang me back again, like within 5 minutes. I've double checked, you are over the dose. It shouldn't be bad, but can you get in and don't drive? Like, you've got to get someone to bring you in, which I couldn't really keep my eyes open. So I was like, yeah, no, someone is definitely driving for me. But he did weigh me to check that the amount wasn't toxic, which it wasn't. So it was all okay and I was absolutely fine, and obviously I'm fine. But when I sat in the doctor's, he basically asks me again how I was feeling. You definitely didn't take it on purpose. So that, like, it just blew me away, really. I just thought, you know what, the caring side of it, the on it side of it, they were so on it. They were so wanting to make sure that I was okay. The doctor was just amazing. We checked everything. Like, he was, just chatting to me. You could see he was really trying to understand my frame of mind. And I have to say, I felt really quite sorry for them at this point in time, because when you're talking to somebody who is in that state of mind, who, even if they are in that position, so many times people don't realise, they don't know. Like, you're talking to them and they're just having an ordinary day and they're holding it in and they know what they're going to do, but they're not sharing it with anybody. And I genuinely felt for the doctors. I really did. I thought, how many times do you ask, are you okay? And that person says yes, but they might not be. And it really did break my heart, really, because I thought, they're really trying their best right now. That's the impression I got, particularly from my doctor's surgery. I genuinely did feel like they were completely on it. So they checked, it wasn't toxic, but they still did like an ECG to check my heart rate because it was pounding. But then I was like, is it just because I'm anxious because I've taken too much? But yeah, so I just felt like it really feels like we are getting somewhere, and that is huge with mental health. Like, there's a whole generation who are still around who don't understand it. Like, they don't get it. They don't realise how debilitating it is. They don't realise that you can't just say, pull yourself together. They don't understand it. And that's not their fault. But days like yesterday, seeing the posts, people sharing how they're feeling, how, it's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign that, life's bad for that person or anything else like that. It's just literally a moment in time that you maybe need some extra help, or a mindset, or, like I say, it's a brain imbalance. I know it's like depression is like a chemical imbalance in your brain. So it's so important to get that message out there. It's so important to show and let people know what the signs are. So there's little things now, and I know in my house in particular, my boys and my husband they know the signs. They know if I'm feeling overwhelmed, if I go and lie on the settee and kind of they know. And, I think there's a whole generation that is going to be so much more on it, and that is really, really important. Like, my husband didn't have a clue. Like, he didn't realise what it all meant. He'd never come across it. When it first started, he didn't know how to deal with it. He didn't know how to help me. And all I think is now, like, not necessarily that I want my boys to see me that way, but at least they understand it. And you know what? I talk to them so much about keep talking to people. Mummy lets you know when she feels a bit sad, and Mummy lets you know when she needs a little bit of space, and that's okay. And then and you can deal with it. And it's important. I say it's important for them to speak to me because, like I say, having known two men, and the suicide rate with men is just so scary. It is literally, unbelievably scary. Colette, honestly, talk to people, babes. Honestly, there's help out there. There's groups out there. Please feel free to message me. Oh, don't. Oh God, I feel really sad that you say that you can't talk to anybody. You can. You can talk to me. Right, sorry. But yeah, I really want my boys to understand and to know that crying is okay, that feeling sad is okay, because it's scary. It's scary how mental health, and as a nation, as a society, there's so much pressure. They will collect. I'm going to listen. I'll listen to you, babe. There's so much pressure to be like the perfect mum who's at the PTA with the baked cakes, and then, oh God, yeah, you've got to earn, and then the house has got to be like not just tidy, but it's like there's pressure everywhere, and it's more pressure than we've ever known. Like my mum will say to me all the time, that the pressure I deal with as a mum is more than she ever had to deal with. She was at home. She had a little Saturday job, but she was at home. Her job was to look after me and me and my brother, and but there wasn't the pressure for like being Nigella, as well as like, she gave me fish fingers all the time. But it's like now it's like the pressure to, are they eating the right things? Are they emotionally stable? Are they and all the clubs, like, can they swim 20 metres? Are they, like, my mum taught me to swimming lessons, admittedly, but, like, she said, the amount of football my boys do, they're going here, there and everywhere, and it's after school, like today. Pressure is increasing, not decreasing. And so it's, like, hugely important for people to know that, one, there are people to talk to, and Colette will message you. Oh, babes, I know. Oh, God, Colette, do you know what? On the school run, people must think I'm a right, like, snooty cow or something, because I kind of just stand on my own on the school run. Like, unless one of my, like, closest friends is there. So if Rachel's there, I'll go and chat to her, or if Kat's there, I'll go and chat to her or back, or, other people. But a lot of the time, I stand on my own because I find it so stressful being in that situation, and there's all these people around, and like, yeah, that school run is a tough thing. It is tough. And I force myself at times to get out the house. I'm quite lucky in that the boys are very active with their football, so I have that thing that I need to go to, and that helps me massively, because quite honestly, like my pyjamas and my dressing gown at home, watching Netflix, binging Netflix is my favourite place to be. Like, that's where I love to be, and I can just sit there, and I'll probably be messaging people, because that's obviously what I do for my business, and I can deal with that. Julie, I'll message you. Don't feel like that, babes. Don't, honestly. I knew it was really bad when it was November last year, so coming up to a year ago. And I snapped at a really close friend, and that was kind of out of character, and I just sobbed afterwards, but everyone knew it was out of character for me. But when I got back from the trip, I picked up my boys, and I thought, I don't think I'm good enough for you. And it wasn't so much about not being here, but I just felt like I wasn't enough for them, and that they needed better, and that. So I know those feelings, and they're a trigger, they're a warning, and so talk to somebody, Julie. I'll give you a little message, and we'll have a little chat. God, this is a bit emotional, isn't it? But yeah, there's always somebody to talk to. So I can't remember what I was talking about now, but yes, so school runs are horrendous at times. I just want to stay at home. I have to force myself to go out at times. The tablets are helping. They make me feel a lot better, and I feel really comfortable. So I never thought I'd be comfortable about taking an antidepressant, and that's I don't want to diss antidepressants, but it was just something that I'd kind of always aimed. Like, I've been through some really tough periods in my life, which I've shared with you guys, and I've always aimed not to. That's like I just wanted to deal with it and get through it and try and get through it. But sometimes you do need that extra help, and they've been amazing for me. They've really, really helped. And because I'm going through the menopause, they've really helped with regards to, I'm not taking any HRT. So I've sorted out other methods, and I spoke to the doctor and I said, you know, I'm taking these at the moment. It's been like a year and a half now. You know, there's no sign of me being able to come off them just yet. But I'm not taking HRT. So we discussed that. And I would just say, talk to your doctor. And if you haven't got a nice doctor, find one. Okay? Find someone who you can talk to who's a doctor, or, you know, get in touch. I don't know if Mind is everywhere. Get in touch with these places, because you can, a lot of the time, you don't have to be referred from your doctor. You can just go. There is always somebody that you can talk to. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get across in this video, is that there is help out there. And if you don't know where to look, like I say, I'll get in touch with you, and I will be chatting to those ladies and finding out where they are, and let's find you somewhere locally that you can go and have a little chat to somebody, because there's always, like, you are not alone. Okay, you're not. So many people feel the same way. Okay, so many people. So there's lots of people that you can talk to. Right, I'm going to go. But I'm going to reach out to those ladies and get them directed to where they need to talk to somebody. Bye-bye.